Hello, coming to you live from Bahia, Brazil, in Salvador, after a super full day in celebration of Bonfino. So I'm really excited to be coming in here live with you, speaking into some pieces that have been really showing up for me in this past week as there's been so much happening in the collective and in my own internal being that wants to be shared with you in respect to rising through and beyond fear to create the masterpiece of your life and the masterpiece of 2025 of this year, and what it takes to create that for yourself through all of your full spectrum humanness. So, if you've been following along, you know that I've been on a worldwide tour for about 7 months, going on 8 months. And one of the things that I have continued to witness in my world with the people that are around me, with my community, with my clients, with myself, is the difference between people who go for it, how much can shift in a short amount of time in the realm of quantum growth, in entirely transforming your relationship to life, your relationship to your body, your relationship to the way that you are navigating reality, and the way that your nervous system is responding to life. And what I see is that the people who come into my world, the people who hire me, the people who are ready to go all in on creating the masterpiece of their life, it requires a creating of space within the body, within the nervous system, to be with the parts of yourself that at some point in time were either neglected or abandoned or ignored or pushed away or suppressed because they didn't feel safe or free to experience the full expression of you in your leadership, or you in your deepest love and trust and compassion. And as I've been in this particular chapter of my life and in Here We Grow in my business, and as I've been going through this massive stretch in my own quantum growth and my own leaping, what I've been seeing is how important it is to be able to seeing on a deeper level and dropping into on a deeper level, is how important it is to be able to be with the pain, be with the fear, be with the emotions that don't feel good, the heaviness, the tension, the tightness that comes from the challenges of life, the parts of life that, they're inevitable to create our resilience, and more so to create our own capacity to be able to hold more responsibility in our lives. And this is directly connected to money and to wealth. So with everything that's also been going on collectively, I have been going to these amazing, beautiful places. So I've spent time in the Amazon with the indigenous Shipibo people in Peru, and I spent time in India, and I spent time in Argentina, going to one of my dreams, Iguazu Falls, and in Floripa, this magical island. And hello, love. While I'm in all of these places, experiencing things that are quite literally dreams come true that I've had for years and years and years, also happening at the same time of ruptures, of personal conflicts, of team challenges. And that's just in my personal sphere. And if you're here, you're also a sensitive being and you care really deeply about creating change in the world. And you're someone that is devoted to being of service. And so as someone that is so invested in social impact, I'm also seeing, of course, and feeling the pain and the collective going through these massive shifts and changes, and we're seeing things like climate crisis getting more intense and more severe. We just had these fires this week in LA, and there's still so much happening there with the destruction and the devastation and the hurricanes that were happening in October, and the genocide. And so there's really painful realities that are going on in different parts of the world, in Palestine, in Congo, in Sudan. And simultaneous to all of that is the beauty and the magic and the depth of gratitude for all of the goodness and the richness and the quality of life and the quality of being that I have been experiencing. And so part of this transmission is in holding the both and of the nuances of the shadow aspects of humanity and of ourselves, the things that we're still working on, we're still working for, we're still working toward, while dropping into a depth of appreciation for what's already here and what we've created and what we've allowed for. And what I experienced in this past 6-7 months, more so than ever in my life, and what I've gotten to experience in my clients as much during this time as well, is that it's through the somatic liberation work, the nervous system liberation work, where we actually have the capacity to be present with both at the same time, that we have the space to receive more of what we're calling in, to receive and to circulate higher flows of wealth and of cash, and to allow for the energy that we're receiving from life, from spirit, from God, from universe, from money, to circulate out in a way that's serving both us, our bodies, our nervous systems, our businesses, our work, and serving the world in the way that we're allowing it to flow out. And what I see a lot of the time with people who come into my world, who are, what it's like to make money, what it's like to run a successful business. But when there's this next level that you're stepping into, this next level that you're rising into, so much of the fear that can show up is because there's stories and there's thoughts and beliefs that the body holds on to of what it's going to cost to step into that next level. And the resistance and the fear of what it's going to cost is usually coming from this place of, this is going to cost me more time. This is going to take away my freedom. This is going to require me pushing myself, forcing myself, exhausting myself, depleting myself to leap into or to step into an even higher, juicier, richer relationship with money, when it's actually quite the opposite. But what it does require is creating the somatic capacity to be with all of the shit that's taking up space in the body, like to alchemize the shame or the guilt that might show up in having that privilege and taking on that responsibility, and allowing yourself to be a sexier steward, a more powerful steward of wealth, of money, right? So when we do this work to rise through all of the fears that show up as we're stepping into this next level of the life that we're creating for ourselves, the wildest, greatest masterpiece of your life, which honestly 2024 is still beyond me. And that's why I know 2025, I can't even begin to imagine. I can have fun imagining, but it's going to be totally out of this world. And this is what's happening with the people who step into my life and who step into this coaching work, because when you have the space and you have the support to be with your body and your nervous system so intimately and heal at the root. So healing and transforming and deepening and expanding your relationship with money at the root of your nervous system. What we're doing is we're clearing and we're alchemizing the old stories ancestrally, systemically, that have been passed down, that are essentially, they've taught you or they've led you to believe that you are going to lose your power as you grow or as you expand with money. When the truth of it is, you're actually going to be reclaiming more and more and more of your power. And I forget who it is. It's some brilliant person who had this quote that it's just coming through for me right now. We're something along the lines of, we're more afraid what is it? We're more afraid of our success than we are our fear of success. And my take on that as well is we're more afraid of our power than we are of not having our power. Because to have our power, to hold our power, and to feel our power in our bodies can be really scary if we haven't ever accessed that depth of it. And what I've been experiencing through this massive, massive stretch into the worldwide tour, going to these places I've dreamed of, having these experiences that are just so out of this world, that have been just blowing my mind as I've been serving my clients who are multiplying their cash flow in a way that is full of energy, of reinvigoration, that makes you feel alive. It's like, oh, like my life is beyond my wildest dreams, right? Like it takes some time for your mind to catch up sometimes with what can happen when your spirit is leading you and when you surrender to God, to the divine, but you're taking the actions and you're choosing yourself and you're choosing your highest timeline and you're rising with the fear, right? Because, and I was just talking to one of my clients about this the other day in our one-on-one session, there's always going to be fear. And because you are someone who has already created so much for yourself, you've already, led yourself through so much, you know what it's like to move through fear and to move through discomfort. And there's this, I think, this amnesia that happens as humans, that we just forget that the fear doesn't go away. We just get a lot more experience with navigating it. And the fears just get bigger. They get bigger as you become bigger. So as you become bigger, as you're taking up more space, as you're taking up more and reclaiming more of your feminine power to rise and thrive, then it's going to be pushing your edges more and more and more. So much of rising beyond fear is continuing to create the environment for yourself, a nurturing environment in your relationship with yourself, that as you're meeting the tenderness, the parts that, are feeling grief, are feeling rage, are feeling sadness, are feeling the heavy, real emotions of what's going on in the world, how it's directly impacting you, what's going on in your life, and also knowing that you can hold yourself better and higher than you ever did before, because you're giving yourself more support. You're allowing for money to support you, to have more space, to have more rest, to relax, to receive, to connect. This is also what decolonial wealth is really anchored in, because colonialism was created to divide us, to exploit, to extract, and to separate ourselves. So what you get to step into with regenerative wealth, with decolonial wealth, through wild overflow, is your ability to come into your most powerful connection. The opposite of divide is unity, right? Come into your depth of connection with spirit, with your heart, with your soul, with your power, with your strongest, highest leadership, and let that be the driving force as you walk with the fear. This is what allows you to create the masterpieces, right? So you have the vision, you have the mission that you're here for, that you know is on your heart, and it's simply just a matter of time. But we collapse time and we allow for the quantum growth to expand in its momentum when you take the actions that have the most resistance. And what happens when you do that time and time and time again is that it becomes so much more easeful, and it becomes so much more pleasurable. And then before you know it, you're like, holy shit, this is what I dreamed. I'm living it. I'm living my life. I'm living the dream life that I had imagined. It's happening right now. And for so many of the people that I have the honor and the blessing to get to drop in deeper with this work, like we're going to be doing inside of Watch Me Rise, it's the unconscious shit, the stories that are in your body or in your mind that are telling you, that like I can't be my most authentic expression of myself while I'm receiving wilder wealth and be seen in that, right? Or be heard in that, or be accepted in that. And we've internalized, a lot of us, we've been taught to internalize ways of judging or rejecting or of discrediting or disowning the different parts of us. And so one of the things that I also really love about this work, and that I think is so, so, so important for us to get to remember, is that as you continue to expand in your wilder wealth and your wilder overflow, the parts of you that felt like they didn't get to be here, they heal along the way. They transform along the way, because now you've become the person that can hold those parts as well. And so I am so excited for Watch Me Rise. We are going to be going really deep into your personal, unique nervous system expansion journey into wild overflow with money, so that you can go from stressful, intense, overwhelming, exhausting, depleting, draining money to life-giving, regenerative, turned on, pleasurable wealth in your business and in your life, so that you can create the greatest masterpiece for yourself and in your embodied leadership, and rise beyond the fears and the limitations and the stories and the beliefs that held you back last year, that held you back in the past, from letting your body really anchor into an entirely new paradigm of how money gets to feel, and how you get to thrive with money, and how you get to serve and create more impact in a way that is actually nurturing and nourishing and filling you up. And I'm so excited for this masterclass series, for this expansion portal. It is Tuesday through Thursday, 3 days, $125. It's rising to $333 when we go live. But if you join us now, you can join for $125. You can DM me, Rise, and you'll get the link to join. The price is going to rise on Tuesday as soon as we're live. And I'm going to be sharing so much juice. I'm just going to be pouring so much wisdom, so much medicine, so much magic, and so much specific strategic ways that you can be applying this into your life, and that you can be anchoring your nervous system into the greatest masterpiece of your year. So join us inside of Watch Me Rise. DM me, Rise, and you'll get the link. And I'm so honored to have you here. I'm sending you so much love and such deep blessings. And one of the last pieces here that I want to say actually is that, during these times when there's so much uncertainty and there's so much unknown in the world, and there's also the shock of processing some major events, these are the times when it's the most important to be stretching and expanding our capacity to receive goodness, richness, support. And that shows up in so many different ways, from people and community, in mentorship from Mother Nature, in prayer, in practice, in your sensuality, feeling yourself, connecting to your creativity, carving out that time. And so this is a huge part of Watch Me Rise as well, is you're going to be held in a container that simply by being inside of this container, your nervous system will be activated. It will be expanded to hold more of your own richness, more of your own goodness, more of your own pleasure, and to alchemize the fears, the shadows, and the pain that is taking up space in your body, and to allow for you to expand not only your receiving capacity, but your holding capacity and receiving capacity within and beyond money as a form of wealth. I love you so much, and I will see you the next time we are live.